From the Channel Seed Studios. Welcome to The Hook. A look behind the lines with Mike Palm and Ken Miller. Powered by Circa Sports Iowa. Sports betting the way it should be. This is Iowa Everywhere.
Channel Seed. Seedsmanship at work.
And hello again, everyone, and welcome to The Hook for another week. Mike Palm, Vice President of Operations at Circa Sports. On the right of your screen, my name's Ken Miller, who, along with Trent Condon, talk sports on Des Moines Sports Station 106.3 KXNO, weekdays from 11 to 1. Another week of football. Where are we? Week number 8 of the NFL is upon us. Final college football weekend of the regular season. We'll talk a lot about that. It's game 1 of the World Series tonight, Texas and Arizona. If you had that matchup, at 350 to 1 on Texas beating Arizona. I think it was 425 to 1 if Arizona beats Texas. Those were the exactas that Circa put out, not in March, not in April, but in early October. You could have got those prices, and we'll get to that at some point. Mike, good to speak with you as always. How's your week been? Busy in Las Vegas?
It's been pretty busy. We're in the height of football season, and we're getting geared up for Halloween. And we have a big party at Legacy Club tonight, Masquerade, and World Series is starting. We had some championship series that went 7 games, and we had that hockey spin around the other night. This was pretty good, pretty cool with all those games playing. So yeah, it's busy.
That's good. Wouldn't have it any other way, right? You long for those days at the end of June and early July when baseball's creeping along as we get to this point. Well, before we get into some of the sports, the D is one of Derek Stevens and your properties, one of 3 that you guys have in downtown. Circa, obviously, Golden Gate, and the D. And yesterday at the D, a progressive slot machine hit for $884,000. That is remarkable. Mike, have you been there when a jackpot of that close to that size has been hit?
Yeah, we had one actually at the D that I was there about 4 or 5 years ago that was 680,000. Same thing, Buffalo, and it actually hit at the Golden Gate one time for 1.1 million too.
Wow!
Right after New Year's. So these are wide area progressives. So there's thousands of these games linked over different casinos, in Las Vegas. That's why the jackpots grow that big.
So help me out. Take us behind the scenes if you know. Obviously, everybody puts in their share proportionally to how much play their machine gets. Is that how it works?
Well, it takes a percentage of each dollar that's wagered, and it goes to the different levels of the jackpots that
Gotcha.
keeps going. So, and then it's paid out by the company that owns the machine. It's a participation machine. We get a part of the rev share. We don't own the machine, and then the customer has the option of taking a lump sum or getting paid out over 20 years. It's like a lottery.
Wow. Yeah. What do they normally do? I would assume they want the money at once, right?
Most of them take the lump sum. Yeah.
Yeah. So last night, would this person have been paid minus the taxes, $884,000?
But that the lump sum option is not the full amount, so that's the trade-off, right? It's
right.
Like two-thirds of the amount. So I'm not sure what he took. I know he was a local guy.
Good.
From Henderson. So
very nice.
Actually, his friend was in town, and he took his friend downtown to show him downtown, and they were playing a machine and hit it.
Yeah. Maybe he had dinner down the Amo if they hadn't eaten yet. I'm guessing would have gone downstairs after that to the fine Italian steakhouse at the D. Well, that's good stuff. So let's get into a couple of things. You mentioned the World Series. I put out those exacta prices at the beginning of our little dissertation here. Do you have any idea how many bettors took advantage of those prices? How many tickets are outstanding on those exactas?
I don't know, but I don't know if there's any. Because we don't have much liability at all. We're winners to both. The only big liability was Houston, and they're out. It was better for us. Philly was a better World Series result, but Arizona was a better National League. So, we got the early result. Now we need Texas in this spot. But I mean, they were all positive.
Yeah, good. Good for you guys. I've got Texas. I think I've told you this before, 35 to 1. I got them way back in March. I had no Diamondbacks, so just to try and have a little something, I took the Diamondbacks to Michigan to win the college football championship series, just so, yeah, I can get somewhat of a return. I think that was prior to the NLCS, and I got 22-1 or something along those lines. Is there any chance, Mike, in the back of your mind, or how are you guys going about Michigan and the sign stealing scandal? Look, the NCAA is like a glacier, right? As far as how they move forward. Do you anticipate? I mean, is there any possibility in your mind that Michigan gets punished before the college football playoff this year?
I would find it highly unlikely.
Yeah.
They're just at the initial stages of the investigation. I mean, these
Mhm.
things can go 2, 3, 4 years,
Right.
and then they would do retroactive things and all that. I don't think
Yeah.
it has any effect on the betting market whatsoever.
Have you seen people kind of slow down when it comes to betting on Michigan?
No, no, we have not.
Yeah. Are they, in your mind, the best team in college football?
Yeah, I don't think it's close.
I don't either.
Um, yeah, and now we'll see. I mean, I think most people would have them 2 to 3 point favorite over Georgia on a neutral. But will the
Mhm.
public tolerate that number? With the history,
Right.
maybe you can't hang that number. Maybe you hang it as a Michigan 1 or something like that. I don't know if you can even hang a 3 and get any Michigan. Who knows? But I mean, the history there is that Georgia's 2-time and
Yep.
Michigan's got killed by Georgia 2 years ago in Miami, and then last year gave up 8 million points to TCU on that slip and slide in Glendale, Arizona.
When apparently TCU changed their signals because Ohio State alerted them to
Right.
be watching
Gave
for
them a
this.
heads up. Yeah.
I love rivalries in college sports,
Yeah.
right? They make the world go round, at least my world go round. No doubt about it. Well, good stuff. Let's Baylor and Iowa State this week. The line opened. Baylor was, I think, 1.5, maybe 1 when it opened. Circa hit 3 today. Last time I looked, has it stayed there? And what kind of action are you seeing? Is there obviously a lot of Iowa State?
Yeah, still at 3. I had a couple of decent sized wagers from some respected bettors on Iowa State that took that number across the 0 and then up to 3. Not too much buyback on Baylor right now. So we'll see. I remember betting this game a few years ago with Campbell at Baylor, and I think Iowa State was a 1.5 or 2 point favorite, and they missed like 4 field goals and should have won the game by 3 touchdowns. Ended up losing outright, and so I'll pass on the Cyclones at Baylor because I can't get over that memory.
Well, you would admit that Iowa State's turned their season around a little bit, right?
Well, they have, and if they win out, they're going to the Big 12 title game because they'll have beaten Texas, but they have to beat Texas. There's no way around not beating
Right.
Texas.
Right.
And if they beat Texas, they could even lose one more game, depending on what the other conference
Yeah.
the situation is, Kansas State and stuff like that. But I mean, that's kind of fanciful talk. But really, Iowa and Iowa State still control their own destiny. So that's
No, they
interesting.
truly do. Yeah,
Yep. Mhm.
absolutely. All you can ask for
I think
Iowa
that
on a
game- I
bye.
think the game for Iowa at Lincoln, Nebraska is going to be tough.
Huge.
Really
Absolutely.
tough.
I think
I think. Mhm.
I think it could be for both schools. Nebraska might be looking for bowl eligibility when they get to that spot. Do you remember offhand, Mike? You hung the Brian Ferentz prop, if you want to call it that, prior to the year. Did you guys, are you lopsided on one way? Did you get a lot of under?
I think we're lopsided to the under just a bit. But not. I mean, lopsided is the wrong word. We're shaded.
Right.
We're shaded to the under,
Shaded.
right? People
Yeah.
wanted to take the plus price on the over too. People like to bet a plus rather than a minus. But I think the variance is less than 5,000 on the result.
Oh, so not that big a deal.
No.
Is the best game in college football tomorrow, at least on paper, the Pac-12 game, Oregon and Utah by a mile?
I don't think it's close. I mean,
I don't either.
I'm interested in both games in Arizona. I think both those home
Yeah.
dogs have a shot to win outright.
Mhm.
But the Oregon game, I mean, Bo Nix, Heisman. I mean, this is his moment. Go to Bryce Eccles against a real good defensive team, put up numbers. He'll put up numbers against USC's defense, I would assume. He's got to somehow overcome McCarthy, and the kid from LSU is like at video game numbers.
Daniels, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's way down in the market now. He's like the second choice, and in the straw poll was the second choice too. So we'll see. But I really think Oregon's one of the best 4 teams in the country. And they unfortunately didn't win that game at Washington. They'll have a chance to run the table and play them again, but they still might not get into the Final Four.
You know, that's an interesting theory on Bo Nix because a lot of eyeballs going to be on him tomorrow
Yeah,
for
that's the only
sure.
game to watch.
Right. And the way, and I didn't see it, you know me, I turned in early about 10:30 local times, and I didn't see Arizona State and Washington play last week. And apparently Penix did not look good. Did you see it?
Yeah, they didn't score an offensive touchdown. He didn't have a touchdown pass in Arizona. I think he's in bad shape, and he was a minus number at one time. Obviously, McCarthy, Michigan's probably not going to lose till they get to the final. Who knows? But I know the Ohio State defense, if he can put up some numbers, which they have, they've scored a ton of points against Ohio State, and they're playing at home this year. I don't think Penn State might not get to 10 against them if that's the way Franklin calls the game. But
yeah, really.
McCarthy, if he stays clean, will be right there at the end too. But I think Nix can go win it with a big game at Utah tomorrow.
Do you have what's he listed at right now? Do you know?
21, you can still find him.
Is he?
Yes. And in game, for those places that offer in-game Heisman during the course of the days, when they were driving off the goal line against Penix, and they got the third down, and they needed one more to really milk the clock out, he was actually the favorite at that time at like plus 210, and Penix was plus 230. There was a brief moment in time for about 5 minutes where he was the favorite. When they lost the game, he dropped to 30-1.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's something to look at. So on Tuesday night, we won't speak until next week. We'll see each other in Chicago. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday night when you get in, as we'll be over there. Just laying it out. The top 4 teams, college football: Michigan, Georgia. Did you put Oklahoma in anywhere?
Well, Ohio State has to be third because they have the 2 big wins.
That's true.
They have the 2 big wins.
Yeah.
I don't think Oklahoma's 4th. I think Florida State has a better case.
I do too.
I think Oregon. I think Oregon, but Washington's undefeated. But I think, it's probably going to be Oklahoma 4, Washington. Florida State 4, Washington 5, and then it might be tight between Oregon and Oklahoma for 6th.
Yeah, I could see that. There's a team that's, I think, floating out there. I'd like to try and find a team that's going to come in, 8 to 12, somewhere in that range. You know who's still alive? Alabama. They lost to Texas. They were embarrassed. They beat LSU next week, Mike.
They might get beat by LSU. They might.
They could.
But then they got to beat Georgia.
They got to beat Georgia. You're 100% right.
I was impressed in the second half because I thought Tennessee was going to win. Tennessee played very well in the first half of that game, and Tennessee's got a decent defense.
Yep.
But they could not do anything offensively in the second half, and it was all tied. They're still alive. You're right. Their loss was to Texas. So, it's not a horrific loss. And if you win the SEC, you figure the winner of the SEC is getting in unless they have
I agree.
A one-loss winner of the SEC always gets in as well.
So I got to think Alabama's somewhere out there in that 15 to 20 range, I would think, at this point. Maybe worth a little stab before you're going into the weekend. A lot of football to be played. We will see. All right, let's go to the NFL ranks. Boy, oh boy, not the shiniest of primetime games. So let's go there. Chargers and the Bears. That's Sunday Night Football. Bears, a bad football team. But a lot of fans of the Chicago Bears. When you put that game against a good Sunday night game, will you notice a difference handle-wise, or does it matter?
Yes, because of the end. And, Sunday's interesting because people have had a long day there, right? They've had a long day betting. And if the game is no good, people tend to go home. And Circa helps us a lot with our over-the-counter right. I can't help but think that if Staley loses this game, he might be out of a job.
Yeah.
Which might be the best thing for the Chargers. But
sure,
I'll be interested. They should be, by point spread and by availability to use or probability to use the rest of the year, the number 1 choice in Survivor. We'll see how many people dare to take that plunge.
Yeah. What will be the Survivor play this week?
I think it will. Baltimore was up, but there's, a few were on Buffalo last night. There's not many that have some of these teams, and you're not using Philadelphia, Kansas City, Detroit, all those Thanksgiving teams, Dallas. Those are 4 of the bigger favorites. So, you're looking at Baltimore, Arizona as the unencumbered teams.
Yeah. Chargers this week, maybe?
I think that will be the number one choice.
Yeah.
There's 1,000 out of 1,200 have them, and I bet you probably 650 to 700 use the Chargers.
Is that a fact?
Where are you going to use them the rest of the year?
That's just it, right? That's just, if you still got them, you may as well use them, because this will be probably their biggest favorite when they take the field coming up on Sunday. What game caught your attention this week, NFL wise?
Well, I think the game that's interesting, I didn't bet it, but Jacksonville at Pittsburgh's a pretty interesting game. Pittsburgh just finds a way to win games. They don't impress, the defense is decent, but Tomlin's never had a losing year. I mean, there's a reason for that. They looked horrible in the first half last week. The only reason they scored 3 points at SoFi is because they missed a field goal and got the ball at midfield. But the second half they played a lot better, and they got helped by a little spot at the end. I think that's an interesting game. I'm also eager to watch Cleveland at Seattle. I think that'll be a good game as well. I did play the under in that game.
Okay. Speculation is Brock Purdy's going to play for San Francisco. That to me was the most.
I bet I laid 4 today because I think he might play as well. I want to get ahead of the move back to 6.
Because that's where they will go, right? That's what he's working.
Even if Darnold plays, I think you're live to cover the 4. I think this is an angry team that had 2 tough road losses, missed a field goal in Cleveland in bad weather, bad blitz at the end of the first half. Got them, this is still a very good team. I would still argue it's the best team in football. I don't care they lost the last 2 on the road.
Yeah, I can't see them losing 3 straight. But yet, on the other hand, the team on the other side of the field, Cincinnati's, their arrow's pointing up, I think.
It's pointing up, but there's still, even the win over Seattle. I mean, if Geno and them are any good in the red zone, they win that game on the road. I'm trying to decide, is Cincinnati, is their arrow pointing up enough to where they were the last few years? I'm not
yet.
Sure I can get there. No,
not yet. What about Dallas and the Rams? Rams, I think, have surprised a lot of people. They're one of the teams.
I'd be worried if I was Stafford going there, because that pass rush and a couple linemen are banged up for the Rams. That could get ugly.
Had a week off.
That could get ugly early. If that was 7, I would tease it. I might end up laying the 6. There's a lot of teasers out there this week, obviously, Kenny.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just a regional game. Green Bay and Minnesota. It's kind of gone back and forth. Green Bay, pick 'em. Minnesota, slight favorite. It's essentially a pick 'em. I think the Vikings are a threat maybe to claw their way to the bottom of the wild card. See, they might find a way to that 7 spot. I don't buy Jordan Love.
They don't have to find a way. If the playoffs started today, they're the 7. So think about that. So I think they're going to get in, actually. And Cousins isn't going anywhere, Ken. He's got a no-trade clause. Why would he want to move his kids?
No.
He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. It doesn't make any sense. And they're probably going to make the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, they got to win games like this, but they're in a division where they can do it. I'm down on the Packers. I had a higher thought on the Packers. I'm really down on them. I probably lowered them over the last month as much as anybody. I'm not going to play the game because they're high off that Monday night win, and it's a spot to be flat. But I just don't think the Packers are good enough.
I'm with you. Condon loves them. I'm on the other side. I got Minnesota big. Yeah. Trent loves Green Bay. So if you're the Vikings, why wouldn't you want to try and sign Kirk Cousins this offseason? Maybe not give him 5 or 6 years, whatever. I don't know what his market's going to be, but why would you not want him back?
I don't think you can blame them not getting further in the playoffs on him. I mean, he's a borderline top 10 quarterback.
I agree.
I know you don't want to pay him top 3 money, top 5 money, but he won't get that anymore anyhow. But I mean, if you build a team around him, he's a guy that can take you to a championship game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like him.
They have no other plan. They have no other. There's like no backup there. I mean, they have nothing developed at all. They haven't drafted a young kid. It's all they have is Cousins right now.
Yeah. Let's finish where we started, but not in the slot, but back at baseball. So how do you see this going?
So I decided I'm going to wait because I think Texas will win game 1 with Eovaldi. And Gallen's been the worst pitcher in the playoffs for Arizona.
Of the 3, yep.
I think I'll wait and maybe try to find Arizona plus 240 or 250 to win the series after they lose game one and make a small bet.
Yeah, I could see that because then Merrill Kelly, who's been unbelievable, and this Fott kid, my God, he's good.
I think you can find him at like 300 to 1 for MVP. If he wins games 3 and 7 and they win in 7, didn't he? I mean,
Yes.
I thought he should have been the NLCS MVP. I know the kid
Yeah.
Marte had the record
Yeah.
hitting every game,
Right.
but they don't have any big name offensive players. I know he'd have to win both those games. I like him against Scherzer in game 3 at home in Arizona. It could work out for him at such a long price, worth a $10 or $20 bet.
Nope, absolutely is. All right, next weekend in Chicago, you get there Friday. You're going to be up on a rooftop watching Northwestern and Iowa. That's got a chance to be. Look, the experience will be really cool because it's a rooftop, but the game itself, oof.
Well, it'll be over in 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's the good thing.
That's the good thing. And the other good thing is if you're on the rooftops, you can walk down the stairs and it's a heated area with TVs and bars and food. And no, it's a pretty cool time.
Should we make a sign about how far behind pace Ferentz is to 25? Maybe will that get on TV? Will that get
like a Sean-o-meter? You remember the Dunston-o-meter?
Sean-o-meter, yes. maybe that'll make it on Peacock.
Yeah, that's right. That's who's got the game. Yeah. Unbelievable. We'll see you over there. We'll have to figure out when we're going to do this next week. I leave Thursday.
Are you flying, Ken?
I'm flying over. Yeah, I'm flying over after our radio show on Thursday. I jump on United, I think, and into O'Hare.
How about Trent? Is he driving?
He's driving. Yeah, he's driving with some of his buddies. They're not going to get into Chicago Thursday night till 11 o'clock. I didn't want to be a part of that car ride. Right?
No.
I want to have a couple of beers and a good meal and hit the hay and be ready for Friday. Thanks for tuning in. Circus Sports is our sponsor here. Download the app, fund your account. Circus Sports, you're going to get the best prices. 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5, 9 out of 10 times. That's the way they do business at Circa. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you next week. Whether we're live in Chicago doing this or we do it in advance of that, we'll figure it out. We'll go inside the numbers with you. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, Mike Palm. Thank you, Wade and White. We'll see you next time on The Hook.